I knew there was something wrong with you. The secrets they're sneaking around. Now it all makes sense.
The wasteland in Fallout New Vegas is filled with the nicest, the worst, and the most emotionally void people to ever exist. What if the wasteland was introduced to someone whose moral compass is not only very skewed, but also only works on Tuesdays? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas as Dexter Morgan? We start where most stories end, tied up by another man in a not so enjoyable fashion. My plan was to break my binds to get my next target, but with some poor planning, instead find a bullet to the brain. I guess tonight was the night for somebody else. My eyes open to find out hell might be a little overbooked right now. Getting to meet the doctor that patched me up, I decide to give him my actual name. Experience how bad I am at character creation once again.
I'm a chair.
And then quickly go to start dealing with my stats. I have high strength, endurance, and luck due to the healthy lifestyle of Dexter, as well as the plot armor stat, kinda needing to be at its max. Only light intelligence, as while Dexter is very smart, he makes a lot of bad choices repeatedly. And 1 charisma is not only to power game, but Dexter is the manifestation of 1 charisma max speech. And after the doctor gives me an "Are you normal?" test that I cheat on with flying colors, get the tag skills of melee weapons, speech, and survival, which is very useful with the rules of only wanting to use blades in my martial arts skill from college, and only wanting to heal with food due to Dexter's love affair with Cubanos and the like, as well as the many times he decides to not see a doctor throughout the show. Traits are very easy to pin down, being skilled for his all-rounded skill set, but also causing for his inability to learn things quickly, and hot-blooded for the many times he blows up and acts like he doesn't know nobody. I can then give a proper thanks to my doctor, and make my way over to Chet to sell some unusable trading goods, and follow Doc's orders to make sure my body is fully functional by helping Sunny Smiles, which is shoot some barrels to test my eyes, and clear out the geckos from the, and I quote, local watering hole, but become better known in a good way by the town, as I save a woman that reminds me I'm a terrible husband. And to show my thanks, Sunny wants me to say a howdy hello hi to the bartender Trudy, but instead meet a moody and rudy Joe Cobb, a man that needs no introduction. Cut to the next scene where I do an introduction. A powder ganger known for leading attacks against merchants in the area. While most think it's for a chance of getting what they call dank loot, I know his real dark reason. And with Joe Cobb seeking out another victim of Ringo, he's a man that quite perfectly fits my little code. But not wanting to be suspected by the people, I ask Trudy for a lead on the man who shot me, and fib to her as I'm tell her I'll be off. But that isn't the real fib. The real fib comes in when I try and get confirmation out of Joe on what he's really planning to do in the city, introducing myself as Bile Cutler, and find out not only of his time in prison, but how much he'd love to tear this place a new one. So with the closest I can get to my M99, and waiting for the cover of night, so that I can perform what I can only call the most Looney Tunes kill to ever hit my trophy case. Where I finally get this monster down, somehow don't get caught by people in town who don't decide to check the gunshots, and after I chop my kills like I chop my sandwiches, horribly, I make sure to hide his body near our little hyena pit that no one will suspect. The next morning on my way to follow the lead of Benny, a man asks for help regarding his wife. I miss my wife, Tails, so I go to save them from a pack of geckos, before finding out it was a bit of a prank. Falling for someone else's ritual at least levels me up to not only become a better butcher, but also better at not butchering my sentences. I get the Swift Learner perk because I'm unoriginal, and while Bart here thinks he can out-serial my killer, he can't. And he at least lets my dark passenger be a little less of a thorn in my side. And his little location makes a good spot for me to store his unusable meat. We then head over to Prim for Benny-related information, and while the lieutenant here tells me the place is dangerous, I make the trip over the bridge of Singular Explosion and try to sneak my way in, before finding out being extra related to JFK makes you a little bit rusty. I still happily defend myself, as the code doesn't let me give up either, even if these crazed men are more adept at killing each other than they are at killing me. I then marshal my art everywhere, and get back to the man who gave me the courier job to see if he saw Benny. And while he hasn't, the hostage has. So I desperately try to sneak in, and still fail, but thanks to my crit known as slicing a carotid artery, making my way to the door, that's locked, makes me actually load a save to not only further train my self-defense methods, but also so I can do a few tasks to make sure I can level up, for just enough lockpick skill for the door, and speech for funny, before going back to Dexter my Morgan all over the place, and open the secret entrance. Only getting to use it after I take out quite a few more guards to make my way to the deputy hostage. Him not wanting to give me info makes my asking turn into threats, and when he tells me Benny is headed back to the strip, I slowly become the Bay Harbor ragebaiter and leave him after getting all the info I needed. Only stopping at the Mojave outpost for the supplies that I desperately need, water and steak, and before leaving, get told by the local sniper to skip Nipton, as some plumes of smoke say someone or something bad has probably taken the place over. However, if you know me well enough, I instead do the opposite of listening. I find the jackals that I think are the issue, until I make my way to find out the real issue. The real issue with following the code, that is. Before finding a little group that likes to get ready like the Ginyu Force. But instead of a fight that takes 17 episodes, it's a speech of how proud they are of what they have done. When I first came to New Vegas for Benny hunting reasons, I was very much thinking that the Legion were just like me from how much they hate the Powder Gangers. The ghost dead in my head most likely telling me about, "Don't do it, Dexter. These are the kind of people you're supposed to take care of." And unfortunately, like always, he was right. With some of the people here being treated like killers, even though they were very obviously innocent. I can't really let Vulpus get away with this, and since I can't be certain I'll be seeing them again, so I try to get the jump on them brass to face first, and thanks to a surprising amount of crits, I mean more crits than you can shake a butcher's knife at, the Legion's troop in Nipton become the pace they have made into the city. And with another level under my belt, allowing me to use my medical degree to good use, I, in that same vein, decide to put their fires to good use to make sure no one can find out where this little squadron went. Before it's through Novak to the strip, starting to take a small detour to Boulder City for extra supplies, where I find out I can actually get extra information, and give support with some lies. As I'm told the Great Khans are holding hostages in Boulder City, the same Great Khans that were helping Benny. But instead of getting to help my dark passenger, he helps me with info on Benny, as well as not only the info of Benny killing the other Khan he worked with, but also his lighter as proof. I also gained 2 separate levels for a perk that basically gives me more armor, which helps as well. I didn't mention it before, I was trying not to have any armor heavier than light, because of his hometown of Florida isn't a great place for all that leather. I assume New Vegas has the same flaw, and in return for this proof, I get the NCR to back off and let the Great Khans go. Find out Victor was following me the whole time, and might have seen something that he wasn't supposed to. You'll regret this. Hunt some bighorners and find myself in Freeside. Get to experience that sweet western hostility, I mean hospitality, and thanks to just kinda hanging on to my money, I can easily pass the credit check and tell Victor I'll be up soon. Something I'll do only after dealing with the man who tried to kill me. I inform the second in command at the counter how Benny is most likely trying to make the strip his own, and might take the tops into war to do so. Swank then gives me the sweet keys of trust as I now need to find proof to back up my claim. I don't even know what I'm supposed to find. A robot that doesn't have free will and must do anything I ask it? Huh, well I'll be damned. This robot confirms every suspicion we have, and Swank sends Benny to his room so that I can try and talk Benny out of this plan. And thanks to the tranquilizer known as these hands, even with the terrible location and lack of plastic wrap, Benny still finds himself on my metaphorical table, allowing me to get my damn package back, and also a level. And since robot lives don't matter, man I hope I don't regret saying that in 30 years, I also take out Yes Man to cover any tracks. Make it look like the Securitron was hacked and took on its owner in defiance. Tell Swank he's in charge now, and that's it. Nothing is here to keep me in...
Your crimes against the Legion, including the death of the fearless Wulpes and Kulta, are hereby forgiven.
They know about my crimes. It's over. Yeah. At least there isn't anyone else who knows. Alright, let's take these out one by one. Starting with House. With a little bit of investigation, I can find an unlocked terminal that easily leads me to the shell of the past the man of wrinkles lays in. And while you may think this is perfect, I mean he's literally on a table, House isn't really a killer. He's more of a salesman, but instead of Girl Scout cookies he gives out, like, taxes, I think. But thankfully for me, I don't actually need to kill him, as leaving him just like this, he's unable to control his operation, including Victor. So problem 1 taken care of. Problem 2, make sure to send Yes Man into the Lucky 38. Since I'm now the only person who can enter, boom, speedrunning, I'm then on my way to Cottonwood Cove, where I magically lose a leg, and in search of a bed to get a new one, also find a cleaver with a name. So Chopper becomes the only partner I can trust. I can then make my way to the Legion's little base and meet the Kaiser himself.
I mean, a man nearly kills you, and your response is to track him across the breadth of the Mojave?
And while he doesn't really see my killings as blackmail, the original plan to keep him happy was to let him keep the platinum chip, so that Yes Man could never get to it. But also forgetting how to leave, I changed the story to stay on the Legion's good side. We instead do what Kaiser asks, and blow up the bunker. One that doesn't really want to blow up with my melee, but thankfully the bunker has spare plasma rifles I can squirt with, giving me the bonus of a level up and the Legion's trust. So I can now leave and counter jump scare.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And just to make sure the NCR doesn't find out my dirty little secret, I'm working with them not only because it's the closest I can get to being a cop like Miami Metro, but if they catch me with the Legion, I can say it's to spy on them for extra info. To make the NCR happy, however, step 1 is make them friends with the big boom booms down the road. Making some stakes for the trip, it takes about 0 plot armor to get here with no death anyway, and get told if the NCR wants to play patty cake, I'll need to be the baker's man, and fix up this place as fast as I can. See a boomer act like a waiter when I'm in a restaurant. Do some tasks to be buddy-buddy, such as fix light panels, listen to the tales of David and the Goliath, but with bombs, and make this man get into the worst and most vain relationship ever made, before dealing with ants not only stealing from a bug's life, but also stealing power from the boomers in search of the syrup. But when it's done, we get another level up that lets me get even luckier in combat. And with the cake baked, they now trust me to go deep down in the nearby lake, getting to take the trip my victims never get to come back from. They place little packages that make the ship come up with a quick surprise, motherfucker. So with the boomers ready to play, it's now take 2 of Operation Do the NCR's job. I'm told this Pacer fellow is in need of death. Issue, I can't prove that he deserves it. So instead start to work towards getting the favor of the kings, needing to get the read on this bodyguard who's raking in the money. He thinks he's protecting me, but thanks to my forensic skills, these quote-unquote dead bodies don't have any blood. Or bullet holes. So with the information that this bodyguard is a fraud makes the kings happy, I now need to look into an attack by NCR soldiers. It seems like a bunch of he said, she said. Find out this is because the kings attacked a man who sent a treaty to the king himself, which when the king himself not knowing, means this is most likely Pacer's fault. A perfect victim for me, if the game would allow it. Unfortunately, due to him being semi-tied to this quest, if he dies, it fails. So we instead get the kings to agree to the deal, and ask him to support the NCR, upgrading me from a random guy who's given tasks to a random guy who's given important tasks, giving my brain enough happy to gain more level, and get super slammed to show them where their liver is. And the next thing for me to do is make sure the Legion isn't working with the Great Khans. The main Khan hike is past Cassador Lane to the house with Big Papa, who isn't going to agree to side with the NCR due to the sour history that they share. But his fake friend and right-hand man says he can get Papa Khan to stop working with the Legion if the rest of the main people of the council agree with it. We need to deal with problem 1, that being my game not enjoying being so close to Quarry Junction, and after fixing the crashes, I'm easily able to pretty much sneak past most of the Deathclaws and eat myself past the one that won't let me get away. Or I can tell Melissa, hey, the Legion treat women worse than most husbands in the 40s. Tell Jack and his wife, hey, they treat women worse than husbands in their 40s. People who didn't like that joke fight back, and also talk Carl, the Legion spy, into revealing himself. And he's, let's say, dealt with. I act like a waiter for Kaiser, which somehow doesn't end in my death, and with confirming Regis's suspicion, I could then fail it all anyway by clicking one wrong button. If you tell the sad man, he said, during the Battle of Hoover Dam, he and his people will go talk to Kermit about his sewer slide run, and attack both sides. So when I tell Lieutenant Woman about it, she wants me to murder the man. And while the Khans can't be considered the best people, they aren't horses. They aren't horses. Sorry, I stole that joke from Mancakes. Watch our collab after this. Papa doesn't really follow my code, so his death isn't going to happen by my hands, meaning I need to reload an hour-old save to retell the people what's happening and instead this time be Papa's therapist after finding out his credit card actually didn't decline, which then makes his group leave during the fight of Hoover Dam. So after the not worth it level up, the next problem only I can solve is the Omertas. Something I'm not really happy about, as anytime I play this game for personal reasons or a video, the individuals in this location either get sent to the place in the sky meant for people I don't vibe with, or better yet, ignored altogether. But this quest is unfortunately very Dexter coded, so we easily steal information, find out Kachino is trying to stop the big bosses, find the weakest link, make Zelda not able to protect him, and make the very hard decision of letting this man sacrifice himself for me, so that Kachino and I can have a private talk with the bosses, before I know where this is going, and break into self-defense mode, and kinda just trust Kachino being right about these two fitting the code, which the game doesn't really like. Fuck it. Ow! Why game crash every 4 seconds? Why? Or who? And I at least gain karma for doing it. So with the strip easily able to be under NCR control, we get to do my second least favorite thing, Brotherhood of Steel. Mostly because I actually need to do the quest, instead of blasting my way through with amazing force and armaments of a Geneva Convention rule breaking. But now all I can do is steal a man's unused food and drink, and do the worst quest in the game, as the Brotherhood of Steel doesn't really follow my code. So we start with gaining video game number of failed missions info, bring them back, then talk to video game number of scouts, then go back, and after getting forced to gather video game +1 amount of things to fix a Brotherhood of Steel base, and outside of the level up to keep me on my toes, to become extra tough, instead of showing you me going to each location filled with nothing but animals, I will instead show you me gathering the part, which lets me fight against the drug-enjoying life enders known as the Fiends. Getting to not only use the junk against the junkies to get inside for the part I need, but also take the time to send another problem to hell, but with a handbasket on the side. So now that the most sidiest side quest is over, the Elder will happily support the NCR. Get the reminder that I'm an adult man. You know what else is hard? The Dark Souls series is known to be a hard genre of games. Find out the saving of lives make Lieutenant Lady a little upset, but now it's President saving time, stealing a little boom boom in this fella's pocket, which allows the President to escape freely when it's damn it. And after showing it to Ranger Grant, the President can fly away, and this inspires me to be the best at knives, and decent at speaking. I then get to meet the Mr. Oliver, who promotes me to random guy that gets to fix the war. I become the best public speaker in a 5-meter radius around myself, and become not even a taker of lives, but also the giver. And with everyone on the side of the NCR, getting out of the Hoover Dam isn't a problem. So much so as I can run to the surface. And thanks to my hoarder problem with food, and being able to hold the block button, about 50% of the combat is done and dusted, unless they bring a gun to my knife fight. But with Rangers on my 6, I need more water. But with Rangers on my 6, even getting to witness a fun team intervention for being master beaters, which doesn't really go well, getting through the camp isn't that hard, as blocking makes the hyper punches feel like slaps from a marshmallow, and before the big fight, take a sleep of anti-leg snap. And for the first time, see 2 Rangers come in to fight the last victim for me to take on.
You there! Stop! Back off! I'm warning you! Help! Help! I'm being attacked! Ah!
And I know that I have 100 speech, but I'm not going to use it to make this fight any easier. No matter how bad of an idea that is. In NCR fashion, the forced upon me help does nothing but get in the way. And with one of my better runs getting cut short, as I launched the Legate's body a little too far into aggro range, the real fight only comes after a few tries later. I make Miscellaneous hang up that computer call and get cut up by my hot knife, doing so well that I don't even know that he was dead. And after shoving every steak into my mouth for healing, and going back to his body, find out that tonight was already the night. I allow myself the trophy of the man's sword, find out it's not really worth it, but with Sword of Compensation and the removal of my eyes, I can get a well done from Oliver. The game shows its love by crashing one final time, and after doing it again, prove that yes, you can beat Fallout New Vegas as Dexter Morgan. Thank you so much for watching, and show your support however you see fit. And while I've never really brought it up, thank you so much to the channel members for your support. I know there's really no perks for doing it, but I still very much appreciate it. As well as a big thank you to all of you that made it this far. And not as always, I'm a table.